crucial. And we've had many different, we've had both parties in office all along, and no one's considered taking us out. But one of the first things we do is we go and talk with them when a new governor comes in or someone in our own area. We invited them to come see our programs, because you can say wonderful things, but when you see it, you know it's making a difference. And to those people who said, well, I think they should just stay home with mom and dad, and we would try to say, but they can't. And when they would see the populations we were serving and the amazing things, how the cultures were coming together, languages, children that were going to go and in kindergarten, you from the ground you're going. You're trying to teach reading, you're trying to teach writing, and preschool gives us that year where the social development is so important. And it's not that we expect you to do anything in pre-K. We know what we want, we know what 4-year-olds should do, but where they are, we take them and we go somewhere with that. The other levels are no longer like that. You're expected to, at the end of the year, something's got to happen. So if your leaders understand, give us this year to, Head Start's premise was Head Start. Let's give them a Head Start, these children who have not had the advantage, have not had the experiences. And we do that as well, but we don't have to have, it's anyone can be in our program. It's a lottery system. And so that buy-in, and then go to your people who work with young children, because we don't know what to say. We're not public office people, but we know how to tell someone what we love, and we know how to tell someone what a difference it's making. And if you have questions or if you're getting misinformation, please come and see what we're doing. And our teachers were incredible. We pulled the best of the best those first years because we had such few programs. But now we've had funding so that we can send our teachers back to school. If we didn't have enough, I'm from North Alabama, and we had lots of colleges, lots of preps to get them ready. It's not that way in all areas. So now we have funding that we can pay teachers to take things online. I love teaching at the community college level because I got to tell them this is what you're going to see. And so it was just, I would start with my leadership, make sure that someone that sees this as important has talked to them to help them better understand that, and then just round up anybody that's worked with children.
Yeah, I think, that's a key point there that, from the beginning, as you were talking to, people and, legislators and other people, you were making that connection for them that this is a smart decision and smart investment, that it's not just, about the sweet little children, but it's, about this is a smart decision for the economy and for, they won't be retained in school. This will just be a better pathway for them. If you want to kind of talk about, how you saw that from the beginning.
There's lots of research. There's the Abecedarian Project, there's the Perry Project, and those are much dated now, but they still, you cannot refute the information that they received. And when you have a population I taught kindergarten before I went into other areas. I taught kindergarten, and at that time I think we had 20 or 30, about 26 or 30 kindergartners by myself. But you could do it at that time. That was a different time, actually. I see changes now. But I might have, like, half of my class had traveled and done more than I had done, and maybe a half or third had never been to McDonald's. And they're all coming in the same day. They all are 5, because this was kindergarten, like we have preschool now, they're 4. And they're all bright. They're all curious. They're all bright. But some have all these amazing experiences, and their language is more developed because they've been places and they've heard words. And, there's all kinds of research on that too, the number of words that a child hears and the quality. And so when I would get okay. Well, so when I would get a room full of kindergartners and I knew their experiences were very different, it was overwhelming, and it hurt to think at that time that was their first year of school. And I thought, these children are already behind, and they've just started, and it's not their fault. And so what we see is that if you give them that quality program for 4-year-olds, even if they haven't all done the same things, if the parenting skills are not the same, we have a year to have them all day, every day, and I have seen amazing things happen. And the beauty of it is that often amazing things happens with the family life as well, because parents are going to parent as they were parented, as I said, but when you talk to them, and a big part of it is they come for professional development, or they come to work with the children and see what's going on in the classroom. And it's kind of a joke. We don't do worksheets. We just don't do worksheets because that limits a child. We give hands-ons, and a lot of parents will say, well, another neighbor goes to a place down the road and they're bringing all these worksheets home. What are you doing? What are y'all doing all day? And so we have to show them how you make your children learn through play, and it's very meaningful that way. And so we get the parents excited, and we have parents who have been our greatest advocates. They have put the word out, and so I guess just really, and I forget what your question was now. Where'd I go? Okay, you'll cut that, of course. But did I answer kind of what you were asking?
I guess I was, so you kind of had to make the case to people in power who maybe, all of this is great, but they really, it helps connect.
Yeah,
them
how's this
say,
gonna?
They're much less, if we catch them now, they're much less likely to, be retained, they're going to have more successful lives. So can you just talk about how you helped kind of communicate that and frame that from the beginning, and maybe how that was important to getting some traction among them?
Well, again, we were very fortunate that we had people who would listen, and so we would share with them all the findings from all the research there on how successful a child could be if they have this great opportunity, a quality preschool. And so we would say that enough, and we started very small. And so that was okay, because starting small, we're huge now, and all the things that I do now compared to what I did when I first worked with this department, quite different, but it's wonderful. It's all good. But we were very small. You knew everybody. You just had a few people in the office, and I visited from pretty much Montgomery up north, and Jackie visited from Montgomery down, and it's changed, and it's wonderful. You do have growing pains, but we started very small, and we didn't grow in leaps and bounds until about the last 4 or 5 years. So I'd say start slow, know what you want, get quality people in place. Not only that we want a quality program, but you've got to have quality people. Get your leaders to understand this. You're going to need them to understand it doesn't happen overnight. And if they'll come and visit your classrooms, it's just sweet things that they'll see, like children who don't speak the same language, but the way that they communicate with each other. And again, when I say in the next grades you are going to be expected to read, well, this year if you can't speak our language, that of course will be difficult. But I would think, again, we were fortunate that people understood that. And it's very insightful for a person who's in office right now to say, you mean, okay, we've got 4-year-olds and they're going to be 18 and 14 years. It could be 14 years before they're out there and they're productive citizens and going to college. But again, in 14 years they could be in prison. And if you do or they could be without a job, or they could be taking, unemployment. And if you do the numbers repeatedly, even to serve a prisoner, I used to know it was something like a prisoner with good health is like $70,000 or $80,000 a year. That's just a given. And we give, our grant is usually about that amount. A grant that would fund 2 teachers, the classroom materials, and so you give that to a great start. Are you worried that somewhere down the road a person's going to fall through the cracks somewhere, and the system will have to take care of them? So we have people with foresight. We're fortunate.
So yeah, it makes much more sense to invest early rather than try to fix later.
We said repeatedly, quality. We said that repeatedly, and they said, pay now or pay later. And so and Alabama's not used to being number one, except in football. Now we can do football, Auburn and Alabama, but the NEAR report every year has ranked us as number one, and I can see why, because we also went in and standards were set, which were NACE standards, but standards were set. The coaching model, and I know you'll have people talking with you about that. We don't just give them money and hope they'll do well with it. We're there, and that's a joy. I get to go visit great classrooms, teachers who are excited about what they do. And so we really just didn't have a thought that it would ever fail.